In today's video, I'm going to be comparing Kyrie Irving against Allen Iverson, two of the best guards that the NBA has ever had. So let's get down, let's check these two players out and see how they differ from each other and some of the things that they do in their game that you can incorporate into yours. Let's get down, let's check out Allen Iverson and Kyrie Irving. So one thing that Allen Iverson was really good at was his ability to use his handles and footwork to be able to gain an advantage on his defenders to be able to drive and get easy or even difficult layups. So when he's dribbling up towards his defender here, he notices that his defender is pretty much on his heels. In the last frame, we can see that at that point, that defender is on his heels. So what Iverson does is a quick snatch back. That gets this player now essentially slightly off balance. He takes a quick hop back, and that creates separation between Iverson and his defender. Iverson also changes the height of his shoulders and the height of his dribbling as well, which will allow him to be able to throw off that defender. Here we can see him go from being pretty much straight up to be slightly more bent, more down, quick crossover like if he's about to attack that left side. We can now see that this defender is pretty much on his heels, and that is when you want to attack. And here he goes for a quick hop, and then he crosses over. That's what they call the killer crossover. Iverson was really well known for that. And the reason why that hop is important is because now it drops that foot, and it raises and lifts that foot to be now the top foot on that right side of Iverson. Iverson then crosses over, and because that player was expecting him to go towards that left side, that creates that lane for Iverson to be able to attack, and he's able to get position on his defender to be able to get that layup. He's also able to use the glass very high off the backboard to be able to get it over top of the bigger help defender. Again, here we can see him using his handles, being able to do these quick crossovers to be able to create open lanes for himself to attack. Here he's able to attack that left side and gets Reggie Miller to go a bit too far. This then creates that lane for Iverson to attack, and that's exactly what he does. He then takes one more dribble and fakes that pass over to this side so that he can make sure that this help defender stays where he is or even moves over towards that side. At that point, that has planted that defender. Iverson has cut off Reggie Miller, and now there's the open lane with one more step to get past that help side defender so that Iverson can finish at the rim. Something that a lot of younger players do not do is the fact that they are not very patient. They think that they need to attack the rim as fast as possible and create shots as quick as possible. That's not the case. You can sit up top, you can try to create and see by moving that ball around and try to see what this defender is going to try and do. Once that player sets himself, which we see here, we can see that he tries to reach out, makes it super tough for Iverson to go up for a shot. So Iverson now, because this player is no longer balanced, he's stretching out, but way out. He is not a very balanced or quick player at this point. You need to attack that player. One dribble is all you need. Here, as soon as that player squares up towards the baseline, Iverson snatches back, does a quick hop, and now in today's game it would have been like an even farther hop. He would have been easily able to jack that three. But back in the early 2000s, these snatchbacks were able to get enough distance even without having a larger step back. The reason is because, of course, Iverson had a pretty quick release, especially for somebody his size, to be able to get shots like that up. And again, you do not need to be quick. You can be patient. You can try to see what that player is trying to do, and as soon as he squares up towards the baseline when you attack, snatch back as quick as you can. Now, if he kept his hand on top of the ball, he could have pushed off of that foot and taken two more steps and got to the three. That's today's game. But back then, they didn't have, or at least didn't use that move as much. And because of that, he was able to hit that shot. And Iverson used that snatch back a lot. Here, he attacked that side, and as soon as he noticed that that player was trying to cut him off in this case, see, sometimes when you're trying to attack, if that defender squares up to the baseline, that's when you want to do the snatch back. But other times, if he's trying to cut you off to a spot so that you cannot attack, you can still do that snatch back. And even in today's game, if he kept his hand on top of the ball, he could have pushed off of that foot and did a quick hop back. Probably could have got a little bit more distance between himself and the defender. But back then, again, they were not really focused on moves like that, and he was able to hit that shot. This is why footwork has evolved so much. Here, we can see that he just grabbed that ball super quick and went up for that shot, and that still can work. However, in today's game, if he kept his hand on top of that ball, he could have pushed off of this foot, got a little bit further back away from Sam Cassell, and because of that, he could have got an even wider open shot, but he didn't necessarily need to do that anyways. Now, Kyrie Irving, he really utilizes the spin move a lot, but also that killer crossover as well. Here, we can see him take his defender to absolute school. Same rules apply, however. We can see that top foot. Kyrie Irving attacks that top foot, then draws in that new top foot on this side. Well, now, of course, he does have a lane if he was fast enough to beat out this player to the rim. However, if he spins off, that's attacking that new top foot, and he's able to get that distance between himself and that defender by attacking that top foot and spinning off of it. Now, while Kyrie Irving is patient, he uses more of his handles when he is trying to create that top foot, and he doesn't necessarily hop as far as Iverson. So on this killer crossover, we can see he doesn't hop as far as what Iverson would have been able to hop sideways with, and that is one of the reasons why Iverson was able to break so many ankles. If this was more of a lateral hop, then he could have been able to create even more of an angle, or at least lane, to be able to attack through. However, he doesn't necessarily need that. He still has that strength, and he's still able to go off of 2 feet, which is something Iverson was very good at too, to finish at the rim. Something that Kyrie Irving does a lot more often than Iverson is some of these mid-key pull-ups, and that's because he wants to be able to hit that shot for one, but this is an area of the court that is usually wide open. And the reason why I say this is wide open is because if you pull up for a shot here and you're known for making that shot, you can draw up the middle defenders or a hedge defender or a help defender. And if you got teammates who are cutting baseline, you could hit them up with a pass. When you start hitting them up with a pass, then guess what? We can see this happen where now this defender is unwilling to help out, and that allows that shot to be wide open. This is a very deadly area of the court. We can even see Pascal Siakam, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all of them hitting shots from around that free throw line. However, just like in today's game, Kyrie Irving really knows how to use the screen and roll. Here he's able to get to the rim because he attacked the hedge defender. If you don't know what a hedge is, basically it's the guy who's defending the guy who is the screener. Generally that player will hedge out and basically try to stop the drive or the shot. However, if it's a slower player like Allen here, and Kyrie Irving's so fast, if he can get his shoulders down lower than his defenders and he can get past that defender, now he has basically an open lane, and if there's no help side defense, then at that point, he can basically have a wide open lane to the basket. However, if these two players came in, generally speaking, it should be this guy coming in, then at that point, he could kick that ball out to the corners. However, if they don't come in to play defense, then of course he has an open layup. When it comes to Kyrie Irving, however, we do see him using more of his body, more of his strength to be able to get the shot that he wants instead of using his speed. So here he's really trying to angle his body into that defender, trying to really get his shoulder in front of that shoulder there so that he can get that angle. However, he's not necessarily the quickest player on the court all the time, but he is definitely one of the strongest guards on the court, and because of that he can battle it out with forwards, as we can see here, so that he can get those post baskets. So who's better? Of course, Iverson has more of a legendary status than Kyrie Irving at this time. Kyrie is still in the NBA. However, Iverson definitely had a more lateral crossover than Kyrie Irving, and Iverson was also a much faster player. However, Kyrie Irving is also a much stronger player overall. If you can, as a player yourself, combine both of these skills as a guard together, being the strongest and the quickest with the most lateral movement on your crossover, you are going to be a very deadly player. You want to be different. To be a guard is difficult because every point guard is essentially a dime a dozen. If you are a good point guard, there's another 10,000 in the world that are just like you. You want to be different. If you want to be different, you start combining different players together. For example, a Kyrie Irving and an Iverson would be a fantastic combo. If you also developed a 38 or a 39% three-point shot or better, that could be one deadly player that you could be. I hope that this video has helped you. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.